Evening all, thanks for coming. Anybody wants to show off their garden, allotment, or just a plant? All I need from you are the photos. If you don't want to do the talking through them, then I'll do it for you. But this is our Zoom, not mine. It is ours collectively. So it's always nice to see new ones in. Right, starting from last week, was bought up allium leaf miner. Allium leaf miner has been around now probably 16 to 20 years. For some reason, it started off in the Midlands, because at the time I was in the Midland Pot League Society, and it started off in West Bromwich for some unknown reason. It's a little aphid, started from Russia, Eastern Europe, and how the hell he landed in West Bromwich? Why couldn't he land in bloody Felixstowe or something, and then work his way across? Anyway, the Midlands got it, and this is what it does. It affects all the alliums, and it distorts them, as you can see there. Nigel Coe, was it you who bought this up last week?
Yeah, it was, Mick. I've been on our current site for about 10 years, and every year we put onion sets in, and they go like that. They get these sort of curly, twisted leaves, but they always grow out of it and produce, reasonably decent onions. I mean, I'm only looking at them for eating, like, I'm not wanting to show them or out like that.
Yeah.
First couple of years, obviously, it was quite concerning. Then I realised they were growing out of it, so I wasn't too bothered about it. But I've always been curious what it was.
Well, I'll show the slides I've got on allium leaf miner, but if I'm growing out of it, the allium leaf miner jobs them completely, unless they are large, which we'll come on to a bit.
Yeah.
But what it does is the allium, this means all the garlic and everything. Then leaf miner, meaning it attacks the leaf, and miner, meaning it bores its way into, this is a fly, it bores its way into the plant, that's why it's called a miner, lays its egg, a little yellow chrysalis, tunnels it way down whatever the plant is, and you can see him there. And once it gets down to the bottom, then he turns into a chrysalis. That's just a grub, that one. Go on the next one. That's when he's turned into a chrysalis, when he gets to the bottom. Now, that will stay in the plant or the ground until next year, and that will be the fly. That will be the allium leaf miner fly for next year. It is a pain in the arse. This was about 3 years ago. I had it in my branch leeks. Now, the leeks look all right there, nice and straight, nice and wide, ideal for exhibition. But stripping down, if you can look closely where my arrow's going, you can see where the fly had got in at the top, laid its eggs, and the grubs burrowed their way down to the base of the leek. And that's what distorts the plants. Like them first photos, because I was only young plants, distorts them. If there's something mature, like a mature plant like these, don't forget these are in the greenhouse. 4 of those are decent size for the put out. So you can see where he's worked his way down, and there's the chrysalis right at the bottom. The thing with large leeks like this, you can take a couple of flags off, plus make sure you get them out, and you've still got a bit of meat on them. But you can see that one distorted because he's got a couple of down the bottom there. But they are a pain in the arse. And I caught a couple of them, and I put them in a jam jar, as you can see there. Put a tissue on the top, and because I wanted to see what the fly looked like. I wanted to see what the chap looked like at the end of the day. But it was a SAS fly, and he bloody escaped, didn't he? Little bugger. So he won that year. But it is a pain in the arse. This is our new, I don't think is on tonight, Nadia as a new member. They sent me this photo this afternoon. But at, I think it was 10 to 7 when I put the worm wheel on. She hadn't clicked on by then, so I think her's having issues as well. There's quite a few people that don't get a good internet connection. This is Jeffrey's cauliflower. Jeffrey from Ostend, he's doing well, good lad. Right, I saw this compost down as that peat free. I wish I'd have bought a bag now and opened it up just to see what the ingredients were. I might get one tomorrow. They'll still be there. But we'll come on to compost again later on, because some of the stuff I'm dishing out is not very good. Right, these are me bedding plants for the back of the garden. If I remember, I pinched these out. That was getting a bit leggy. Keep them nice and short. And you see what I pinched out? I've started throwing secondary growth already, which is what I wanted. Right, my cormlets. If it's a nice day, today's been beautiful, nice and mild, then these are brought right out from under the shelter. And if there's a drop of rain coming up, well, not the rain we've had Saturday, that was a bit blowy. But I can give them a good watering out there. Right, bedding on the front of the house and me alstroemeria. Because they've got the protection, i.e. that wall there and this wall, obviously this is the drive. These have come on leaps and bounds. And if I do zoom in, I've got flower buds on there. As long as we don't get a good frost, them should be alright. Right, daffodils. I've started doing this last week. These daffs and tulips, if you leave them in like that, they'll just go to seed like any plant. This is exactly the same as deadheading your bedding plants. You deadhead the flower stems as well of the daffodils. I'll just take them off about 3-inch stem and take them off of there. Leave all the leaves on, because the nourishment out of the leaves will go back into the bulb. That's what I've taken off. Then will be composted. Exactly the same as the tulips. And there's a close up of the flower alstroemeria on the front. During the week, I went round to Lynn, dropped some compost off, and they gave me a climbing spinach and a loofah. I've got to look into my loofah, see what I've got to do with the chap, but I'll give him a go as well. Right, if anybody lives local to me and they like basil, just message me. And for some reason I put 200 seeds in. Why the hell would you want 200 seeds? Anyway, if anybody needs any, just message me. And right, compost, I'm getting more compost now. I'm using more for me growing than what I've done for the last couple of years. Still a good brew, so I'm bagging that up and taking it up to the greenhouse again. Right, during the week I went over to Wednesbury and I met Neil. He's from Warsaw, along with Chris Evans. They've both got an allotment on the same site. He's I've talked him into giving us a talk week after next. He's a good lad. There's Chris Evans. Both decent veg growers. They like the giant veg as well. And I borrowed, or Neil gave me 2 of his spare Swedes. Hopefully if the Cardiff show is on, or the South Wales show is on August, I should go around for that, one of them. I did ask 2 supposedly mates from South Wales for some spare veg. I said I only want 1. They both turned me down, so thank you very much. Right, these are took down to the tunnel on the allotment, and there's 1 going in this side, and there's 1 going in this side. Mycorrhizal fungi ready, and fork. Dig a nice big hole, bigger hole than what I want. Good brew underneath. That was leaf mould and goat muck. You can see the worms ferreted about. And just build it up till I get the right height for it to go in. Good dollop of mycorrhizal fungi. And this one, because he was skew off in the pot, I'm putting in as upright as I can. So he's firmed in from the outside. He's not pushed down so much. He's firmed in from the outside, pushing in. And then I'll just slightly firm him down at the end. But if you do the size properly, you shouldn't need to go down long much. Good soaking once he is in. And then top dress as normal with rabbit muck with a straw. To keep that moisture in, stop him drying out, and it works. And there's the other side. I've done the Swede the other side as well. This is my exhibition shallots, top of the garden. Don't forget, I grow to exhibit and to eat. There ain't much difference between any of them, because being a cook, if I'm cooking something, when I mean, the biggest job of anything you do is preparation, same as cooking. If you're preparing grub, you don't want to get a carrot with carrot fly. You know, you want to grow decent stuff. If it's good enough to eat, it's good enough to show. There's some of the village shows I've judged, and the amount of people who says, "Well, I got better than that. I could have put something in." Just bloody put it in. You know, just have a go. That's how you get the bug. Any road up. If these are no good, anything exhibition wise, then I eat it, as we'll come on to later on. So these are my exhibition shallots, which are the large ones. The other ones, the small ones, are the pickling. I say quite a few are growing just in fours. That's another set of them. You can get 4, 3, up 5, up to 6 or whatever. And that's another one. He's supposed to be an exhibition, but he's gone haywire. There's hordes on him on there. Basically, what I'm doing is thinning them out. We'll do that later on. Right, grow bags from our trading sheds. These were Levingtons. I haven't had them before. So I'm doing another trial as well. And this one, I'm going to empty a grow bag out. Then I'm going to fill it with my growing medium, my compost. And see how we go with that. So I've took the top off there and I've emptied this. So I started going through it, rubbing out all the lumps, and because it is not all peat, I put extras in. What were the extras? Plastic. How the hell do you get plastic in there? There's bits of wood. And then I had 2, 4, 6, 7 stones out. Proper stones, not something you can, that's compact that you can smash up like peat. Proper bloody stones. This is in, now Levington I thought was a good name. I think Scott's bought them out a few years back. But the government has again has said, trying to get away from peat, you can put extras in. Extras should not mean rubbish. Any road, what I'm still doing is elevating my compost off a cold floor, which is in there. It's not cold, but that is the heated end of the greenhouse. But any slab or something, you've still got coldness coming from underneath. So that's just elevated on top of there. So that's still being heated at 50 minimum, and cold end of the greenhouse this end. Go back on that one there. You can see that little chap there where my arrow is. I spotted him. Thought let's have a closer inspection, which was him. So I opened. Thought the bloody nose is that. So I opened him up. Look at that little grub. He was having his fiesta. He didn't last long. What's that one? Anthurium. Beautiful colour. Nice and red. That's what I want to see. Saw these down Wilco. This was last Monday. Something I've never even thought about it. I had these last year as plants from Lidl, and I put them up with lime props, and they were superb. I think that was black-eyed Susie, but I saw these black-eyed Susan. I thought, Gordon, Benny, why don't I look for these earlier on in your road? I've got one of each, and that's what the seeds look like. Never seen seeds like it before. So I bung them in. As you can see there, you can just about make them out. Bit of vermiculite on top, good watering, and then cling film on top, and then I'm going to bung them in my propagator. The lid's off my propagator off. It's just extra warm underneath for this lot, or anything I've pricked out, so that'll be ideal for him. So basically that is the lid. Spinach, more spinach I'm starting off. They need potting on, so I next pot size up. As you can see there, roots one side, not the other. We'll come on to that again later on. Good watering. Scott is our first guest speaker tonight. Scott's from Chelmsford, Essex. He's been on a couple of times. He's serves us well. Scott, are you ready, mate?
Yeah, can you hear me all right, Mick?
Yeah, brilliant.
I don't know where you got that photo from.
Scott, what do you specialise in?
Chilies.
Okay, mate, thank you.
Yeah, but yeah. So the previous one, that was a new muck heap we found. That one, yeah. I went to a farm shop local, and just to get some goat cheese. And I said to the woman, there was all these pens, always had different animals, goats, ponies, sheep, all sorts of things. And I said, what do you do with your muck? She goes, oh, I've got a massive heap as big as this shop. She said, come down anytime. So I went down there, and that's what was there. It's fantastic. And so this is the old stuff at the front, and it was just full of worms. So we just bagged as much as we could up and took it back. So
Love it.
that was a good find. And then I think this was the first day after we were allowed to travel after lockdown. We went to Mersey Island for some fish and chips. It's about half an hour from me, and that's the missus helped me pick up seaweed. So she's a good sport.
Good man.
Yeah. So I took it back to the plot and laid it out in the polytunnel to dry. And it got, with the nice weather, that's get nice and crispy. And I've just smashed it all up. And then after the talk we've had, I got hold of Emily at the National Vegetable Society. When I saw her parents, they had got some rock dust from last year. So I went and got there, took the last 4 bags off them, and that was yeah. So that'll keep me going for a while.
Good man.
Right. So this was a prickly pear. I put this photo up last time I spoke. The wife bought this pad off the internet. It's for the tortoise to eat. So we thought we'd try and root it, and we planted like that, and then it was about a month, nothing was happening, and then we saw the next photo, Mick, is a tiny little flower just coming out, or a little growth, and so then it's gone mad after that. And now that was last week, and then I don't know if you can see that. That's what it looks like now. It's going mad.
Oh, lovely. Bloody hell.
I know. So my sister lives in Portugal. She's overrun with them. She hates them. I sent her a photo of it. She said, set fire to it quick. But but she hates them. But yeah, so hopefully the tortoise will eat it. So this is me grow tent at home with mainly chilies in. So it mainly the capsicum animals, which are like jalapenos, poblanos and bell peppers and things like that. And then at the front, that's like a Scotch bonnet type chili, but you can see the difference in the growth. That's a capsicum chinense, which is like a habanero type thing. And then there's another one, I think it might be the next photo, Mick, which is that's a capsicum baccatum. That's called an RG pickled frog. That one, I've never grown that one before. I think they're from Peru or something, but they just all got different growing styles, and I love them. They're beautiful things. So, and that is a tomatillo. So I don't know if anyone else grows them, but I grow them every year. I love them. They're like a Mexican tomato. They're like green, and they grow in a husk. And you need 2 plants for them to pollinate. So one on its own won't do anything. The bees have to go between 2 plants. So I normally go 4 or 5 of them, and they make beautiful, like Greek salsa verde, beautiful. Oh, it's lovely, delicious. So I took these. It's quite a large sprawling plant, and they grow. These are the husks, and then I think the next photo, Mick, you can see that's when you pick them, when the fruit bursts out of the husk. They are beautiful, and I've now got loads of recipes that I use them for. So, but I like a lot of Mexican food, so we cook a lot of that at home. And there's tomatillo chicken stew and wraps and all sorts of things you can do with it. But it's really tasty. So that's one worth growing. So This is one of my greenhouses, mainly full of dailies at the moment because I can't get them outside. I've come outside today because it's nice and warm, but I've had them inside. This is the first year I haven't stored any of the tubers. I just kept them all in the greenhouse in pots, and they've all survived. They're all shooting. These have had a fresh bit of compost on the top this last week, and a few chicken pellets and stuff, but they're all shooting nice. So, and the rest is just like my veg. A few more chilies, tomatoes, and sweet corn and that sort of thing. And this is my allotment. So that the bed at the end with the sprouts in, I've had that bed for a couple of years now. And then after watching every week everybody making all raised beds, I've decided to just go all raised bed completely. So that was the first bed I've made, a few weeks ago. And then I've done it the whole plot. It's only a small plot, so I have to be careful. I can't lose too much space. I don't know what the next one is, Mick. Yeah, so that was the first bed, and then that had some fruit bushes in that bit of ground there. I've left one in. That's a blackcurrant, but this had another blackcurrant and a gooseberry in, which I've taken out. And there's another bed gone in there now, but after watching everybody, so that's the second bed. I just thought I've got to do it. So I've only got on one board high at the moment because I haven't got time to worry about filling them. So I haven't dug this plot for about 5 years. I've only top dressed just like Mick does with his beds, but so I've got quite a height of soil anyway, so I've buried the boards a little bit, and that's helped. So it won't take long to fill them, I don't think. So that's the front bed. That's 2 boards high. That's me garlic and onions, and then under the plastic I've got parsnips, and then spuds under the straw. And these pipes they're called land drains. I don't know if anyone else uses them, but it was an experiment I started a couple of years ago just to bury them. They're clay, and I bury them in the ground and then water those, and then that gets the water to the bottom of the bed, sort of thing. So the theory is I think the roots go down that far. So it seemed to work. So I'm going to put them in all the beds. I've got them in the polytunnel. So yeah, so it's not very wide. So it's about 13 foot wide, my plot, and then that's the length of it up to the hedge. So it's quite small. I think it's less than half a plot, but it does me because I'm still at work. So it keeps
nice and flat, Scott.
Yeah, that's Essex for you.
Yeah, no trees
No.
around the edges either, so you got the sun windows out.
Yeah, get the sun all day.
Yeah, perfect.
So yeah, so this the bed. These are the parsnips I've done Nigel's way. So I thought I'd have a go at that with the drain pipes, and they're all coming through. So and then I'm just not too sure when to snip them off, but I thought I'd let them grow a little bit more to see which ones were the strongest. But I took that plastic off this morning because we've had cold nights even down here. So yeah, I thought I'd give that a go.
When you thin them out, just thin them out with scissors. Just cut the tops off. Don't get blood in them.
Yeah, no, I don't want to. I've never grown a decent parsnip, and I thought, well, I'll give this a go. Normally they're all forked and look horrible. So I thought I'd give this way a go. So hopefully, yeah. And that's all the beds are in now. But that top bed near the green compost bin, that is 6 foot wide, and I know that I won't be able to reach it, but I've got such little land, I had to sort of make the most of it. So I plan to sort of put a board across there and use that to get across there. The others are 4 foot wide, like yours, Mick, but that one I didn't want to lose any more.
Yeah.
So I just made it as big as I could. So and then that's looking down from the other way. So this is another bed next to the polytunnel, So I managed to get a small walkway in beside the polytunnel, which I've just put some bark down this morning. But this was so much, it's really high, this earth, so it's nearly full, this one, once I put the boards in. So yeah, I just can't wait to get everything out there. And then just in front of that, behind that fence, that's a comfrey bed. Behind that chicken wire, there's a pond, and I've got comfrey growing there, which I use obviously to put in the compost, and making comfrey feed and that sort of thing. So there's a few spuds in there under the straw. So, and then the blue box is a recycling box from what we put our glass in. I've got a couple of spare ones, so I put some spuds in there again, thanks to watching Nigel with his pots in the ground. So I thought I'd give it a go. So, and they're just starting to poke their heads out. And these are chicken feeders that whoever had the plot before I said chickens, and they left. There's 2 of these, and so I'm growing carrots in these this year. So I did again, watching the talks, with Nigel, I've used a dibber and put them in, but unfortunately there's a lot of seedling, like weed seedlings coming through as well. So I've got to wait for the carrots to grow a bit bigger before I can tell which is which. So there's all sorts growing in there, but I could pick out a few carrots. The other one's not quite so weedy, so it won't be so bad. It'll be all right. So hopefully I'll get some decent carrots. This is inside my polytunnel. A little bit messy at the minute, needs a bit of a weed, but I haven't got around to it yet. The flower, that's pyrethrum, which I've been growing in there for a while. I heard that was good for warding off bugs and aphids. So I've been growing that, and that just comes back every year. And then I've got a few spuds in here that I put in the end of January. So I always put them in the polytunnel end of January, just take a chance, and 9 times out of 10 they come through okay, and they're just poking their heads out now. So, and again, got these land drains in, and that works quite well. You see the spuds coming through, so I'll be nice and early. So yeah, and that is just by the door of the polytunnel. I've got poached egg plants outside, and they come back every year. And that when hot weather, the doors open, all the hoverflies come to the poached egg, and hopefully go in and eat any aphids that are in there and stuff like that. So that's the plan anyway. Seems to work. And this is a flower bed. That's a salvia in there, again just outside the polytunnel, just to encourage predators, really. So I think that's it.
Excellent, Scott.
No problem.
Anybody got any questions for him?
Nigel.
Nice one, Scott.
Scott.
Hi, Nigel.
All right, you got some lovely chilies there. Do you bother pinching the tips out at all, or do you just let them go?
I do. I have this year. I don't with all of them, but because they've been in the grow tent for so long, because normally they'd be outside in the nice weather. I take them out during the day and put them out behind the sunshade so they don't scorch. But they've been in the grow tent for so long because of the weather, they're really shooting up. So I have been pinching them out, yeah, and they do bush out more if you do that.
Right. Just a quick tip on the carrot one.
Yeah.
Where you bored out and put your carrot seeds.
Yeah.
Cover the seed with vermiculite, and then you got an idea where you've planted your seeds.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah.
Nice one.
Looking forward to it.
You mentioned that pyrethrum in the greenhouse, what you was growing. There's quite a few insecticides now have got that as an ingredient, didn't they?
Yeah, they have.
So yeah.
I don't know if it does anything, whether I'm supposed to, I don't know, but
it's got to, innit? Yeah.
And it's pretty as well, so
Yeah.
What was the name of that chili that's like what's it called? The Mexican tomato, sorry. What's that?
Tomatillo.
Tomatillo. Thank you.
Highly recommend that. They get 2.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody got a question for Scott while we got hold of him?
No, that's cool.
Scott, you're a star. Thank you very much, sir.
No worries, Mick. Cheers.
Good on you.
I've just been asking questions here and I'm on mute. Never mind, carry on.
Oh, you plonker. Go on. Go on. Ask Scott then while we're still
Just
in.
quick, Scott, your dahlias in your pots. I've seen you got three fairly large pots in the front of your greenhouse. Do you grow your dahlias in those all year round? And are they the tall variety?
They are, yeah. They're called poo. Most of them. I've got a lot of those because they're my favourite. That's all. But they do grow really tall. So I've got them in pots. They're the larger ones. There's another one called night butterfly, which is similar sort of height, different colours. But they're like I think they're called is it a floret or a chloret type? Where there's like
I don't know. I'm not up to speed with it. I know there's various varieties, aren't there?
Yeah. I only like the ones that the bees can get to. With that open ones with the with the pollen in the middle. So we like encouraging the bees into the garden. So.
I'll try a few in pots and see how I get on.
Yeah. I've got some in the borders, but and I didn't dig those up either this year. I thought I'm going to chance it, but because we get a little bit warmer down here, so
just survive the frost, have they?
Yeah.
Even
one in a pot. I was just been doing them today, and I found one. There was a few of the tubers were mushy, but there's still shoots coming out of it. So I've cut them off and I repotted it, and
away we go. Oh, interested.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Brilliant. Cheers, Scott. Thanks, Scott.
Cheers.
Right, greenhouse top of the garden. Bedding plants have got to go out. Obviously, if the sun's out, I put my towel down for the hound, and I'll stay quiet. Right, this is weeding the border with help from my mate. Because we got the dog fences everything now. It's not knackering me up, but it's I can still do it what I can, what we can get away with. So these lots are going out, which is dianthus, salvia, and the geraniums, which are here. As you can see, I'm only in drinking cups when they've started getting flowers on already. In fact, that one is open now this afternoon. So that's telling me they needed potting on anyway. So I took the chance. This was 3 days ago, hoping that we didn't get another good frost. Or if we did, then I've got no choice anyway. They got to go out. So I'm spacing them out just the one side, because the other side of the garden is full of white bells and bluebells at the moment. So it's just the one side and that top end. Obviously alternate the plants, and I'm bunging them out. The pots I'm saving, what they come in as them are a decent sized pot, plus my drinking cups. I'm saving them for next year as well. Right, my exhibition shallots, which we jobbed earlier on, because I'm in fours, I want a nice big shallot. So I'm holding firm 3 on them, and I'm pulling one of them away from the plant itself. So holding these 3 firm and pulling that one away, there's no disturbance for these 3 root wise. There might be a bit if them roots are entangled between these, but because I'm hanging on to them, and I'm gonna water that anyway, earth him back up and water him when he's got out, so I should get away with it. But these will be left down to 2, and that way I'll get a bigger size in, because that's what I want for the collection of alliums I'm putting in. So now there's just 2 large slots, and they will get a bit of meat on, as we'll see later on if I'm still doing. So I've split them 2, 3, and I'm working my way down. These lot then will get used in a tea. Bougainvillea, nice sunny day. It does need watering. The leaves are shriveling up. Tells me, again, still in the kitchen. Tells me he wants a drink. As you can see, he's dried out a bit. So it's a nice sunny day. No wind, which is the main thing. And I'll give him a good feed, a good water. Using the top one first, anything to start off watering, I use a small watering can, which is the smallest I've got. And then that soaks in easier because they're small water particles. And then I will go on to him after. Otherwise the weight would run off. If you are using these, this was on a gardening group during the week. Somebody says, in fact it was my input they saw. I said, somebody mentioned these watering things. I said, I send for them and them crap, they don't even work. And I message him, I says, do you cut that top off the bottle? He says, no. I says, well, that's why it's leaking. And you've got to cut them off to get a seal. So he apologised. That's a bit blurred. But just get the knife underneath and you can get it off. But there's one with and one without. But once you take them off, you'll have no problem whatsoever. So once that's been used with that and it's soaked in, then I'll start using the bigger spout, i.e. that one there. And I'll let that one until that tray is full, and then leave it then, and then that lot in the tray will get soaked up again within an hour or so. Right, this was probably Tuesday. I've run out of water, rainwater, in both water tubs, so I had to fill them up. This is what I had from Lidl week today. Me sweet peppers. I love the pots they come in. I'm bloody keeping them. Them are corkers. Right, they need potting up. So next pot size up, which is them, which I had the bedding plants out of. Perfect. As you can see there. Bit of compost on the bottom to get them the right. So I put that pot in, which is level with the top one. Take him out, then bung him in. Put him in upright, then put compost around the sides as normal. That label's a bit bigger. Just earth up. Right, once I've finished this, that lid is kept off for 48 hours. I don't put J's fluid in anymore. I just leave the lid off for 48 hours. So all the crap can disperse out of the water. Oh, what's come next? Paul, you got your lucky underpants on. Right, first one. Mark. He has it all. Good on, Mark. Next in. Bloody hell, Lynn. I'll get in touch with you two later on, seeing what you want. Right, our next speaker is Nigel Cole, obviously a gladioli expert. He's given a couple of talks before. He's a good man. You ready, Nigel?
Yeah, fine, Mick, thanks.
Thank you, sir. All yours.
All right, evening, everybody. Well, it's still reasonably sort of early in the season for us, but the leaves are beginning to sort of branch out on the trees, and the soil's getting a bit warmer, albeit about 2 or 3 weeks later than it should be. So, so we thought we'd better get cracking last week. So this is what I'm faced with to start with. I've got this was last weekend, last Sunday morning. None in the ground and 500 to choose from. I think we saw Mick's slides a few weeks ago of how we peeled them all and de-eyed them, so to take the extra shoots out. So no point going through that again. But this is how I store all my glads all through the winter in these mushroom trays, because you get a good airflow through them, through the bottom, through the top, even if they're stacked 5 or 6 high. So that's the sort of starting point. So this was last Sunday morning, around about 8 o'clock time. So we had a bit of a sort out, decided which ones I wanted to put in first. With this damn COVID business, it's a bit of a sort of tricky one because Mick and one or two of you know I'm primarily growing for showing. Most of the early shows have been cancelled. Some of the later September ones are still intact at the moment, and fingers crossed they'll still be intact. But there is a show in August as well. Now, pretty much impossible to time a gladioli for showing purposes. You know, there's no sort of stopping dates or anything like that. So we're now faced with a show sort of third week in August, and then nothing for 3 weeks. And then the next show is sort of second, third week of September, and then another one after that. So basically, it's sort of what I came to first, and the ones I was sort of most sort of keen to get in the ground. So this is what they're looking like just before we take them down to the plot. The plot's about half a mile away from home, so it's not too far away. And these have been stored in the loft all winter. I cleaned them up, cleaned all the husks off, de-eyed them, take the excess shoots off. Then they've gone into the shed just to keep them a bit cooler than they were in the loft. But even then, you can see some of the shoots beginning to come on them. So down on the plot, as you can see, nicely worked tilt. This is again last Sunday morning before the monsoons arrived in Derbyshire. So the soil was quite dry. We've never had. I think we only had about 7–8% of the normal April rain. So I was expecting it to be a bit dry, but the line's laid out there, ready to sort of put a nice straight line across. I can usually get about 22–23 across my plot, and I'll leave around about 18 inches down the sides. So down that right hand side and the side that you can't see at the bottom of the slide, just so that I can get round and walk round them. But yeah, nice sort of rope out, making it nice and sort of easy to get a straight line. Okay, so about 4 or 5 inches deep. The soil, as you can see there, is quite sandy. Although it's not steep sided, we are in where the plots are. They are in a river valley, so it's quite sort of sandy soil. So quite often people will say put a handful of grit or something in underneath your corn to help drain any excess water away. I don't have to bother about that. My main problem is getting enough water on there anyway. And there's a ton of mushroom compost gone into this plot over the winter. And I was quite surprised, really, when I dug these first few holes out, that you could hardly tell. It's hardly touched it. There's an argument for another good couple of ton going on this next time around, I think. But 4 or 5 inches down, nice sort of planting hole. And next one, please, Mick. And distance-wise, about a foot apart, and the rows are about a foot apart. I put 3 rows in. And I usually leave about 2 foot in between each set of 3 rows, so that gives me room to walk up and down and do any sort of hoeing, weeding, tying up, watering, anything like that I need to do. Okay, Mick, thanks. So as I said, well, you can see there, it's just like a desert. I mean, you know, last week of April in Derbyshire, one of the coldest, wettest parts of the country. And you know, it's as dry as a bone. So the watering can had to come out. Fortunately, I've got loads of water barrels on my shed, so there's no shortage of water actually in them, rainwater. And each plant, well, there's a 2-gallon can there, and that did about six planting holes. Really soak them and get them a good start. If they are a bit dry at planting time, what tends to happen is they're very shy at sort of getting started, and then when you get into sort of late May and it does get even more dry and they haven't established very much, they then tend to sort of stress out a bit. So so getting them off to a good start is really important. And once they're in, nicely raked over again with me nice little yellow tea labels, courtesy of the Dahlia Society at Harrogate Show. I always stock up with them every year when we're up there. As I say, about 23, 24 across the ground. Usually I grow about 30 of each variety if I can. The ideal would be, you know, sort of 20 varieties, 30 culms of each sort of thing. But you lose a few, you gain a few. So it usually ends up with 17 of this and 4 of that and 25 of this. So, but at least we made a good start. Got them off to a good start. And interestingly enough, I went down and put my next lot in this morning, and it was almost too wet to sort of plant any at all. I did actually get away with it, but we had so much rain this last week and yesterday in particular that there was a fair old bit stuck to the boots when I finished. So Mick showed you his cormlets. He's got his growing in a bit of a sheltered part of his tunnel. I haven't got that access to so much room, so I tend to sort of put mine straight out into these 30-litre pots, and I won't say they take the chances because I know they're going to grow, but they're a bit slower to develop. So these were actually planted towards the end of February, and as you can see on the top row, there's just a little bit of green beginning to sort of show there. The top pots were the first ones planted, and they're up about 3 or 4 inches. I've given them a top dressing there of grow more just to sort of keep them happy. And this photo was taken the day before it really started raining, so hopefully that grow more will wash in and just give them a nice balanced feed. Excuse me. So that's what we're looking for. That's what we're looking like at the moment. About a dozen in each pot. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 come up at the moment. The other 3 will follow very shortly, I would expect. This is a variety called, see it, tip my head on one side and put the specs on. Yeah, tickled pink. This is one of the ones that I've sort of bred myself. In the last couple of years, I've started having a bit of a dabble with hybridizing. This is what we call a giant flowered glad. So giant flowered means the size of each floret, not the size of the plant. So the florets on this will be at least 5.5 inches across, and it'll have about 8, 9 open for the perfect sort of bloom, and probably about 25, 26 buds open. Sorry, altogether on the actual flower spike itself. Okay, Mick, cheers. So as I say, I've done a bit of dabbling, sort of hybridizing myself over the past few years, and just as a sign of how far behind this season is, this is the way I grow my seed. I go down to my local fishmongers and sort of spend a few quid on fish, and then sort of make him feel guilty by the price of the fish, and say, you know, well, can I have a few fish boxes? And he lets me have those. Pop a few holes in the bottom, and get a sort of, wouldn't say it's a 100% seed compost. It's seed compost mixed with a bit of feed, just to give it a bit of sort of moisture retentive properties. And at this time, this is a cold greenhouse, no heat whatsoever in there. These were set away as seed at the beginning of March, and by now that should be just one sea of green leaves coming up. And as you can see, there's one in one box, a couple in another, and basically all that is down to the fact that it's cold nights. Even though it's been nice in the daytime and I've had to have the door open on the greenhouse, the colder nights have just knocked them back terribly. Next few weeks they'll be coming up nicely. This is a bit of an experiment I did. I act as editor for the Gladioli Society, which for me sins means that I write pretty much all of the yearbook. 1 or 2 people donate articles and I tweak them a bit. But in me trawlings through older publications, I found this article where this bloke had a go at growing seed in little Jiffy 7s, the peat plugs. So I thought, well, I'll have a go at that. Absolute waste of time. I planted 45 seeds and I actually got 2 to germinate in these Jiffy 7s. This is the best one of them, which is I've potted it up into a bigger pot, this is only a 3-inch pot. but he's growing away okay, nice and green. As you can see on the right hand side there, he's just got his second leaf coming. So when he's a bit stronger, I'll plant him out into one of my beds out in the main garden, and we'll see what he does. But it's interesting doing these hybridizing, because you never know what you're going to get. But you'll get, if you a red crossed with a yellow, you'll get so many reds, so many yellows, so many going back to the grandparents and the great grandparents, and then every so often you'll get a really sort of freaky one as well. So until they actually flower, you don't know what you're going to get. But it's really, really interesting. Next one, Mick. And just to prove the point, this one is a blue flower crossed with a pink flower, and this was sown as seed 2 years ago. It actually flowered for the first time last year, and hopefully it might make the grade. It's looking okay at the moment. It's got a nice little bit of ruffling with it around the edges, so that'll give it added sort of strength. You can't see it in the picture, but the actual texture of it is quite waxy, so it's not going to sort of get battered around too much by the rain unless it sort of comes down with hailstorms and stuff. The only thing to be determined yet is how many buds it's going to have in total on the stem, and that will dictate as to whether it'll make a good show variety or not. But this is the sort of thing that is really exciting me at the moment. Is the hybridizing side of things. Hopefully, there'll be a few more nicer varieties to come, which in the world of gladiolis we need at the moment, because we've just lost one of the only two or three specialist suppliers in the country. They've decided that this year was going to be the last one. That's Showglads out in Nottingham. So it's sort of tough times ahead for the keen sort of show growers. But if anybody did want any glads as a sort of last minute bargain, contact Showglads in Bramford, Nottingham. They have got stock left still, and they're selling everything they've got because they're closing down the business. So 1 or 2 bargains to be had. I think that was the last one with one tip. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Excellent, Nigel. Steve, you can ask your question now, mate.
Why can't combs stop in ground?
They can, mate. No worries at all. Years ago, we used to say to folks, "Oh, don't leave them in the ground. Lift them out, lift them out." And when we were getting sort of winters like you used to get in the 60s and 70s, and it was soaking wet and 3 foot of snow every winter, they got a bit of a tendency to sort of rot and sort of sulk a bit in the ground. Now it's warmer winters, they'll survive quite comfortably in the ground. But when you think of how a gladiolus propagates itself, you plant a corm, it then produces another corm and lots of little baby ones. What will happen eventually is all of those baby ones will keep growing and growing and growing, producing leaves, and they'll take the sort of all of the goodness and the nutrients out of the flowering sized corm, and basically you'll end up with no flowers. So what I usually do when I'm doing my talks is I demonstrate it by saying, like, okay, you've got a young married couple in a 1-bedroom flat. Fine, no problem at all. They've both got plenty of food to eat. They've both got plenty of room. But you stick half a dozen kids in there with them, and everybody suffers. So basically, you can leave them in the ground, but once you get a lot of leaf and very few flowers, which might take 3, 4, 5, even 6 years, that's the time then to sort of split that clump up and spread it out there.
When do they flower? At what year?
Well, the seed I showed you there, the seed that was growing in a pot on its own, that will probably flower for the first time next year. The year after that, it'll give me a better idea of what it's going to do. And the year after that, it will give me a good sized, a full-sized exhibition type bloom. So you're looking at sort of from seed to a corm, probably 3 years. But the corms you buy in the garden centres and stuff like that are grown, they've already gone through that process of growing up from little baby corms up to big flowering size ones. So anything you buy from a garden centre, Aldi, Lidl, Home Base, B&Q, etc., they should flower that year.
Thank you.
No worries, mate.
Jeffrey, go around, mate.
Hi. I just wanted to know, a friend of mine has the mixed gladiolas from the big bags you buy in supermarkets.
Yeah.
And they put them all in a row every year. And last year I noticed for the first time the seeds on there because
Yeah.
it doesn't cut them off.
Yeah.
Do they hybridize themselves? Do they cross themselves with the bees?
Yeah, they have a little bit of assistance from the bees and the the insects, but yeah, that's if you can some of the top show varieties that are around now have been grown from seed that was what we call open pollinated. So it's been done by the by the insects and the bees and things. But if you want to try and sort of get a bit of a sort of pure bloodline, shall we say, going, then you need to sort of once you've actually done the pollination, protect that sort of pollinated bloom so that it doesn't get cross-pollinated by anything else. But yeah,
Okay.
they'll quite easily cross themselves out in the garden, and you could end up with anything from that cross because you don't know what the parents were. So.
Yeah, I've got varieties in now that should cross nicely, like dark reds and then whites.
Yeah.
Like Murmansk and something else, I don't know. But do I keep the names of the ones that I've crossed if I cross-pollinate them myself?
If you grow it from seed, you can name it, yes.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
No worries.
Nigel.
Quick one, Nigel.
Yeah.
Once you've got your corn, which is producing a good sized bloom,
yeah,
what's a reasonable expectation of the life of that corn to grow every year?
Probably about 3 years.
Right.
Look,
so you wouldn't get another 10
what
years.
What will happen is, as it grows, it produces a new corn for next year. So you then plant that one in year 2, and that one then produces another corn for the year after. But all the time, the root scar at the bottom, where they're growing on top of each other, has got bigger and bigger. So you end up with sort of a big root scar and less of a fleshy sort of food store, shall we say. So I'm growing 500 or 600, and I'm probably replacing a third of those every year.
Okay. Thank you.
No worries.
Anybody got any more
Nigel.
questions for Nigel?
Nigel, have you ever eaten one?
I haven't eaten one, but I am aware of the effects of them if you do eat them. Apparently, the Romans used to use them medicinally, and shall we say they have a similar effect to sort of cenopods and that type of thing. They were
Magic mushrooms.
raging diarrhea.
Oh, cool.
I'm not going to risk it.
I bet Mick's eaten them.
No.
They look good though. They look like little pumpkins.
Yeah, they do. I mean, they're quite starchy, and apparently, during the Second World War, when food was scarce and things, and obviously, sort of Holland being the sort of the gardening sort of centre of Europe, and they were under occupation, and food was scarce. It wasn't unusual for people to eat them just because there is a high starch content in them. But to say, the after effects are apparently quite horrendous.
Really.
Anybody else
There
got
you
a
have it.
question for Nigel? Nigel, been a star, helped us out again.
You're welcome, mate, anytime.
Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
Nigel.
Cheers.
Good on you. Right, top of the garden. When I've finished, run out of water earlier on, so I'd fill that water butt up. Then I legged it down here and I fill this one up. This one is used for gravity fed, as you can see, is oil. What it used to be, but what I do now, when I've unplugged that, I then plug it into there, and I flood my beds also with obviously, but that's tap water, got no choice with it. So this is filling the next water butt up. When I've filled it up, get my old sieve and take all the crap out off the top if there is any in there, which it normally is. So I'm filling my next one. That was my first lot of carrots which were sown earlier on, and a spud which I bought out. give them a good soaking. Coming back to these, keep an eye on these, i.e. when they start wilting, i.e. that get too much checking growth, which that happened with me, because I didn't keep my bloody eye on them. Meaning, I think they're going to die, so they'll go to seed. And I think I had 4 gutter seed on me, so I just pulled them out. But you can see the carrots are starting putting a bit of meat on. This is from a cold greenhouse sowing earlier on in the year. But just keep an eye on him, probably because I'm doing too much. He's looking a bit better now. He's had a good soaking. Right, my new raised bed. I want some more gladdies to go in. But I'm just taking that straw away just to show you. And don't forget, we've had no rain for a bit. This is before we had them rains. I'm just taking the straw away just to show it is still nice and moist under there, because he's been top dressed with straw. That's why I do it on all my raised beds. Right, I fill that water butt up. That is now plugged into there to give these lot a good soaking inside the top tunnel. So the tubing goes in either side there, either bed. That one is now filled at the end of the tunnel. All the crap's taken out there as well. So the pipe work goes around either side of these. And then at the end they meet up. So obviously with the tap water, you can get a good pressure on it. Well, we can with our mains. So this is pumping the water out. But you've got to keep it on a couple of hours, 2 or 3 hours, just to get some in there. I mean, you can't beat watering by hand with a watering can, but sometimes you ain't got the time. That's my door that goes on. Obviously, netting as well, so I've got ventilation. Good ventilation all the way around the bottom, i.e. this netting as well, plus the door. But this just pushes in and then takes it out with both hands, as we've done there. Solar powered fan on the top, he's ferreted away. Right, I'm going down, I'm taking the straw away. It is dry, but I'm just going around finding that pipe work for you. And that's probably after about 20 minutes. You can see it's coming through. Right, them shallots I got up. So I've given them a nice fry up. There's our tea, bit of salmon, chili sauce. I used to do this at school. Me and our kid, mother was a dinner lady at the primary school, and I could remember cabbage. We used to have white cabbage, and it was vile, and spinach. But mother always says, if you mix it up and you can't taste it, you'll eat it then. And I've still got into the habit, and our kids still do it and all. But as long as you clean the plate, it don't matter, does it? Right, this is Gavin, my mate down South Wales. This is his first full-time year as a proper gardener. Chuffed to bits for him because he loves it. Good lad. Keep your brain occupied. Body and brain, that's the same with everybody. Right, another dollop of glad's got to go out. So I've sorted them. So 2 lots have gone out. There's the first one. Second. If that show is on in, I think it's 18th of August or something, them should be okay for that one. So here's my next bed. Don't forget, these were top dressed end of last year with the chicken muck and spent tops. So I'll just take the cover off. I've got my all stuff ready there. This is a quick photo of the first bed. You can see them coming through. So I've got my 3 lines in, 4-foot raised bed, so I can get 3 rows in. And I've ferreted the combs out, so I know how many I'm going to get in. Start digging the holes out, obviously under the lines. Fistful of vermiculite under each comb. I want to piddle, so I'll piddle on the mat, top of the plot. That's the pathway down to my plot. Good deterrent for foxes, badgers and cats. They'll go nowhere near that. They'll go down next door's pathway. It does work. That's why I do it. Right, top orchard. As you can see, one of my trees there, for some reason, that's come off the wire. So I've got to go and tie him back up with a bit of string. Obviously, keep him where he's supposed to be. While I was down the bottom, they made photos of my bottom orchard. So I've took one side view. You can see I can walk down all my trees down the sides. Blueberries at the bottom. So that's that bed. I've just planted all them corms and a top dressed. And that evening, luckily, I forecast rain, so I didn't bother watering. And for once, that was right. Otherwise, I'd have been waiting the next morning. But I got away with that wise. So I've got one more bed to go, plus the pots I'm doing top of the garden. When I got back home from doing the Gladys, postman had been. It delivered to the compost king. I know me by now.
Who's that then, mate?
You're a cheeky bugger, are you? I'm going to mute you. Right, I'd had these from, and these were these cubes, I'm called. Trawling the cubes. This was from John from Taunton. Those Root Riot cubes. He'd mentioned before, he said I got some freebies for you. And he posted them to me. I didn't expect that many. But here we go. Trial and error. And these he's from Growth Technology, which I sent him to. But that's how they end up. You put your seeds in, obviously they go away. But because I'm trialing everything anyway. So ready for Saturday morning down the trading sheds. If the weather was good. I'm dishing these out for different people that come. Let them trial them as well. Because I've got wards on them. More the merrier.
What are they, mate?
We'll come on to them later on. I'll explain them more. But they're basically peat blocks.
Okay.
But they are moist. But I'll come on to them later on. Paul.
Where the hell did you get that picture from?
He's our third guest speaker. Paul comes from the Black Country. As you can see, he's a good-looking person.
Down in Colligate. This is my first tunnel I had years ago. I had a green cover on it, and it eventually ripped from the year, and me and Mick replaced the cover. Next picture, Mick. And that's a committee meeting, normally, average night. That's my daughter, Molly. When Mick used to run the Caslon gardening club up there, and they won the first Trug prize in Malvern. I can't remember how long it's been, Mick. And that's when I first had the. This is when I first had the bug. Colin, as you know, gave me his first lot of tomatoes before he passed away, and they went ballistic. And that's when I got into it. Tomatoes and chilies and cucumbers in the one tunnel. The tunnel is 6 meters by 4 by 2, and onions dry enough. Chilies in the middle. That's when I got the bug for the chilies. The next picture. And that's how I grow my chilies. Homemade fishmonger boxes. Glue 2 or 3 together, cut them out. Foil the insides, air vents, light bulb in the top, LED. If it gets too hot, I'll put a little computer fan, wire it up, and it works. It's worked for me for around 4 years now, and they're growing fine. Next picture, Mick. And that's me old tunnel I built. Top plot, 4 meters by 2. I started off, built the frame up, then old decking boards up, tatted off Facebook. Some in the bottom was some wood chip. Next picture, Mick. And then I filled it with good soil. It's a good brew, horse muck, goat muck. And on the top was spent tops. Next picture. And that's one of my Calamine and Reaper I got to germinate in just a Chinese box with a kitchen roll, and it worked, and it's doing well. It's flowering now. That's one I grew last year, called Medusa. It changes colour. It gets green, yellow, then it goes to red. And they're quite sweet when they get to red.
Good name, those ain't Medusa.
Medusa, yeah. I should, yeah. No, Devil's Fingers, that one. Devil's Fingers.
Oh.
And these are me onions last year. I had a go, but they're not as big as Nick Blake's. But I'll do all right with them, to be honest. That was from growing from seed. The first aubergine I grew. I was quite chuffed with that. Next picture, Mick. One of my dahlias I grew last year. I had a good crop. The dahlias last year I had a lot of rock dust in. And duck muck off my ducks and chicken muck all went into one bed and cracking display it was this last year. That's one of my gladies. I can't remember what it was. It's a beaut, that one was. Next picture, Mick. Another orange one, gladies. I grew over the plot. No more coming up this year. I left them in. But didn't visit. Another, I love that one. I can't remember his called, but it's a beaut.
Nice.
I think a beaut that was. Next picture. That's my first tunnel bottom of the garden. I didn't have beds in. I had big back pots. And I'll give some telefy. They were beauts. Just in compost and horse muck. That's all they grew in. I did well. Next one, Mick. And that's my homemade chili jam at the Chili's. And it was absolutely lovely. I got a jar left. And I think it's about 3 years old. And that's the 1 year produce I'd have my chilies. 2 onion bags and all different varieties in there. And I've chuffed a bit. That was about 2 years ago. Next picture, Mick. And that's the trophy one. Longest chili. 1 year in the gardening club. And that's that's be one tunnel. When I started a little frame off and you can see the decking boards. That's all my chilies. Big window in the back for ventilation. There's different varieties in there. I even grew the penis chili. Quite funny, that is. There's all sorts in there. And that's my joint. I can't remember who gave me the seed. I had a giant squash seed. This is planted to be all right. And that's what it turned into. It took over the old bed. About 26 foot by 3 foot wide. Just took over the bed. And I couldn't lift it. There's me and a chap on the plot. He had to put it in the back of the car. The back of the car went straight down. Next picture, Mick. And that's my first year entering in Collins collection in the gardening club. I think I come fourth. I did all right, I thought.
Good man.
The first attempt. Next picture, Mick. And that's Mick's cider on a Friday night. There's a few chilies in, Nick.
He put them in when he went for the piddle.
And I cracked them open. It was lovely, nice and warm when he got back. Next picture, Mick. And that was my giant squash, took over my plot. It went absolutely ballistic. What I did, I planted it in some duck muck and some chicken muck, and that was it. It went mad. And I'm going to try again this year with pumpkins. I've got some pumpkins growing. Next picture, Mick. And that's the penis chili, what it grew into. And I'm growing some this year.
Peach pepper, right?
Yeah, they call it a penis chili. Pepper chili. And that's the one Mick's after off my plot. He's after that glady. I grew it wild one bulb, and it's got deeper every year in colour. I've got some cornlets on growing this year for that off that. Next picture, Mick. And that's me just germinating Socrates cucumbers in 7 days. Left them in the dining room, Chinese tub, chucked the seeds in, changed the water twice. I opened it up after the 7 days and I was like, took back the roots on the cucumbers. Amazing. There's only one that didn't germinate. Next picture, Mick. And that's me old garden. I grew my Donna lily, giant lilies. And the next year I never had none. Next picture, Mick.
You should have some this year then.
Yeah. And that's my old pond. And that you going back before I had the kids. And I had loads of fuchsias and geraniums, as you can see, and koi in there. It was beautiful. Now it's all slabbed. Next picture, Mick. And now I'm trying these. You can all have banana seeds. I'm still germinating them into. I've started them off in Chinese tubs like I do with cucumbers, and I reckon snip the end off after they get soft, and then they're in composting and propagated with heat on them now. So fingers crossed.
You got a trial.
You got to. And that's me underneath is Asa. He's called what's it called now? Oh god, love me. And under it is me palm tree. I've had that a few years. I've had it valued. Well, the people have said it's worth about 500 quid now. And it is about it's at least 25-year-old now.
It's good.
And Mrs. brought me when we got together. It's a beaut. It gets bigger every year. Next picture, Mick. Who did it?
That's it, Ray. Cheers, Paul. Right, questions?
Oh, what did you do with your 2 onion bags of chilies, for heaven's sake?
Lots of sauces and jams, and I gave most of them away.
Yeah.
And then they produced, that was just out of like one tunnel. They produced out of a lot.
Amazing crop. Is that what you produce every year?
Most years. Last year was a bit bad last year. I don't know why. Not so many, but I still had a few. I'm using all different kinds of stuff this year, so hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll have more this year. I'm using that big grow. It's Farm Fox is called. Canadian brew.
Yeah.
And so far, I was impressed with it. I mean, chilies have had like a bit of a boost. I've got flowers on my Reaper. I've never had that before, this early.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Hello.
have you ever eaten a Reaper?
Have I had one?
Yeah.
No, but I'm going to try one. I've had an Armageddon.
Yeah.
That's only 1.3, I think. But God, I was doubled up, man.
Yeah, I bet you was.
The Carolina Reaper, you'll taste it for 3 or 4 days still. It's terrible.
Back in and top end.
Well, both.
I'm going to try
When you
one.
start
Anyway.
your chilies off, Paul?
Christmas decorations go down and then they start them. So that'll be the 2nd and 1st of January I'll start. 2nd and 1st of January I'll start. But it's every year I'll start them. And I've done well. I've got 78 plants up and running. And I started some about a month and a half ago, and I thought a bit late to start them, like you do. I thought I'd put them in, couple. Orange Carabiner, they popped up. Them in the grow box, lights on. Not so big as the others, but they'll soon catch up.
Yeah, I do.
That's a question I was going to ask.
Nick?
So I used to grow a lot of chilies a few years ago. I mean, loads and loads of them, super hots, whether it be, doesn't matter. And then I used to find, I always used to have a date Boxing Day and start them off and put them under lights and heat and all of that. And actually, over the years, I've learned, I know people do it as a hobby and all that, but actually, if you start them in February, the plants catch them up come this time of year. They're as strong as soon as the sunlight comes up and you've got the day length. The other thing I was going to ask about is the soil. You said about the soil you use. I used to grow mine in really poor soil. I mean, nothing, no nutrients at all. And they used to love it.
Yeah, they're fine. They're growing anything, to be honest. I've had them growing like half dirt and half bit of compost. I tried it in a pot for 1 year, and it was absolutely great.
Yeah, I used to feed them when they used to start the fruit, but before that, I used to use spent rubbish soil, and they used to thrive on it. I mean, I grew I think I grew a ghost in a 9-litre pot through capillary. I can send a picture. I grew 800 pods off that.
God, man, 800, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's incredible. I put some pictures. I'll send Mick the pictures about 4 or 5 years ago.
I've got a Dorset Naga orange this year. I've tried. I had it from Tenerife. I thought, looks like it. Looks like a Dorset Naga, and I crossed, and I thought, I'll have it. I'm going to try it on the 20-litre pot and see what happens.
Yeah, I don't think they need it. I don't think they need that. I've seen the pictures of a lot of nurseries do it. Put them in a 100-litre pot and they produce 2,500. I don't think those chilies need it. I think as long as you feed them when they need it, I think they'll grow really well. The other question I was going to ask about your onions, impressive size onions for where you grew them. What variety were they?
I had the seeds off Jimmy Checkit He didn't tell me what there was.
Okay.
And all I did was shove them in a tunnel, and I'm growing the same ones this year, and they're really beefed up. I'm just full of nitrogen at the moment.
Yeah. Bit of advice, cut that back soon.
Cut it back.
Yeah.
I'm just going to plant. I'm going to plant them on soon. So
they're going to bulb up another 4 or 5 weeks. They'll start bulbing. You don't want too much nitrogen then.
The first year I started onions, Vic gave me a little seedling. And I thought, I'll never grow big onions. We just have a go. And I did. And I come third in the show. And I didn't feed it that much. I just watered it and watered it. And it did all right. I had third. I was quite chuffed.
Thanks for that, Paul.
Cheers, Nick.
What variety did you win longest chili with, Paul?
I think it was oh God. Red something. It's long.
Thunder Mountain.
Long chili.
Not a Joe's long, was it?
I think it might have been.
Two good varieties, if you want really long, is Thunder Mountain or spaghetti.
Yeah. I tried the spaghetti last year. I did all right.
Don't tell him that's what I use.
Oh yeah, I said yeah. No, Andrew Holmes.
Long one, Paul.
I said yours.
I've seen people, honestly, I've seen people with chilies actually put tiny weights on the end of them.
Does it get them straight?
To try and stretch them.
Fishing weights. I have to try that. I'm just going for super hots this year. I bought one this year called Jamaican, Scotch bonnet Jamaican, and it's a new one. I reckon orange as well.
I quite like the habanero, to be fair, for flavour.
It's in like fat, like the Scotch bonnet, but it's like a Harabino. We're going to put a bit of a tail on it. So I'll post some pictures when they start coming on.
But your council loves you.
My council, what?
All on you, Nick and all.
Sue is double block up.
No.
Paul,
No, definitely.
Hello.
have you tried
Who's
them
that?
ricotta chilies?
No.
I have.
Are they any good in it? You ever said I have?
Yeah, me. I've tried them about 3 years ago. Yeah, they're really good. Quite prolific. Very bushy plant. I can't remember. I think it produced about 60 or 70 on it in about a 5-litre pot.
Oh, very good. I've got some of them growing. There's red and yellow either, Nick.
Sorry?
There's red and yellow variety apparently.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, they're a nice. They are a nice chili.
What's the hottest chili you ate, Nick?
For myself,
yeah, raw.
I grew. I don't grow super hots anymore because it's just I grow other stuff. But I've grown Trinidad scorpions, Dorset Nagas, butcher lockies, ghost peppers. I've grown. I think about 5 or 6 years ago, I grew about 35 varieties of really hots, and I found actually I enjoyed growing them, but when I harvested, and again I'll send a picture to Mick, I harvested, and I think I harvested nearly about 1,500 chilies, and I thought, what am I going to do with them?
What are you going to do?
I ended up phoning up the Indians and said, the Indian takeaways, do you want some chilies? And they come round with my food, and I gave them a load of chilies, and I think I had 3 Indians free over the late summer period.
I'm growing one this year. I grew it last year. It's called Naga Viper. Yeah. It's got a real kick behind it. Yeah, I'm gonna get Mick to try that one.
Sorry.
Go on. I grew the last few years one called Lemon Drop.
Yeah, I've done that, lemon drop.
It's got a kick behind it for a little fella.
I'm growing about 15 chilies this year, but they're not super hot. So just like Ring of Fire, cayennes and things like that, nice for cooking. But I'll tell you a quick story. I'm not hogging the channel. I'll tell you a quick story. About 4 or 5 years ago, I grew a lot. And I had this Trinidad scorpions. And one of my managers came in and said, I can eat chilies. And I said, really? Okay. Yeah. So I said, I'll tell you what, I shouldn't have said it. I said, I'll give you a £5 if you eat one of these. So he ate it. About 30 seconds later, he said, that's not too bad. Within 5 minutes, he's on the floor. I thought I killed him. I thought I killed him. I thought, my God, I'm in charge of these people, and I've given this chili. He's actually vomiting in the bin.
Yeah.
He stayed there for about an hour on the floor, went home after work. It was about whatever time it was before he finished. And the next day he come back in, he said, I wouldn't do that for £500 again.
I'll get a chap an Armageddon at work. He said, well, I can have it. He snatched it off me. I said, stop before you put it in. It was in his mouth before you knew it. And during the day, you could see his colour changing. He's walking out, he's throwing up down the canal.
Yeah, I don't like the super hots, I must admit. But anyway, sorry, Mick.
Have you seen him on internet that grows in that automatic greenhouse? And he has chili tasting nights.
Yeah, I've seen them on the internet.
I'll tell you an interesting one to watch is the Bristol chili.
Chili competition.
No, there's a
Chili Club.
Clifton Chili Club. That's the one to watch.
Yeah. They have contests. I've watched them.
I've watched them. Me and Mick are into this year.
Okay, people, we're moving on. Paul.
Cheers, Mick.
Cheers for that, mate.
Cheers, Paul.
Cheers, Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
Good on you, Rag. Right, this is Rose's favourite pose.
Asleep.
Is that there of me? Right, trialing these cubes what I had. I've got 2 tomato seedlings, near enough the same size. So I'm going to try one in these. Now these things, it's a funny growing medium. You can see the hole there where you're supposed to put your seed in and whatever. But these stay together. They was moist when I got them, meaning the box was a bit of a weight, was the amount of it anyway. But they didn't collapse. They stay together, and they've got like a little web holding together. And they are peat, but obviously for that seedling to go in, I'm going to rip these up as I've done there. But it is a weird growing medium. So basically, there's the one I've left in the normal clover compost with my vermiculite, and this is the one with the trial compost just broken up sparingly. Obviously, he's got more air in the root bottom than that. But when I've got some seed to start off, then I should try them that way as well. But this is just trying it, ripping the stuff up. Give them a waiter, see how they go. This is the end of the greenhouse under the staging. That's out the sunlight, so that would be. I'll put a drop of water in there. That's a plastic china tray. Andrew come up to my house a couple of days ago for some compost. Because they'd forecasted crap for Saturday, i.e. yesterday down our sheds. And they did forecast high winds all day, gales and all this crap. I thought I ain't going to open up because any rain we have, it blows straight inside the front doors. So I just put it on the Collier Gardening Club group, Facebook group, that I'm not going to open up. Anyway, Andy come up for some compost I'd bought home, and he dropped these off for us. He says, these any good to you? I says, well, I'll try them or I can get rid of them. And Mark's going to have them off me. He's going to try them out. But I had something similar to these for my tomatoes earlier on, but I just had one cane in the middle. As you can see for here, they've got 3 canes, and that's what you put on the top. But I don't know if I'd use 3 canes on a tomato. I don't know if anybody's got any views why they've got 3 canes in when it's for something else. A singular beauty, one of the best gladies I've grown. 3 lots of different size corms. I want to put 3 lots in. See if I can get something for our show. 2, 4, 6. So I'm going to pick. Right, this bed, I'll get 3 lots of 6 in there. I've got my labels marked out where I'm going to go. I'll put the corms out. So my first lot of 6 are going in there. Put my labels in so I know where they are. Take out the soil. Fistful vermiculite. Put my corms in. Like, there's the middle of the corm. So the flower side has come that side. So I've put him on the outside nearest to that edge. And exactly the same this side. The flower shoot is this side of the corm, meaning if they was both on that side, they might get a bit close to each other. So it's just giving me that extra little bit of distance. So them two are covered up, then I do the lot till I got the 6 in. That lot is kept covered up again. These are put on the top again, but obviously when they start coming through, then I shall have to put something like this around to stop the hound, because I'd bloody chew everything. Because it's now 3.5 months old, which I mean as a teenager, and as a proper bloody teenager and all. And there's other ones, Florence Nightingale, that's another good one. Still going through the chaps, that's why you skin them off, because you'll get a duffin every now and then. So I've got to look at them, see which sort them am. But these have all been skinned off rubies. Plus you can see when I've dug out the extra shoots, which I don't need. And these are going in me pots again. I did well with them last year, so I'm doing exactly the same again this year. Because I've got large holes on the bottom for drainage, I put a bit of paper in to stop the compost going through. Northern mixture clover, my vermiculite. They've got underneath and 2 corms. Put the date in. Which ones are these? I think these are my little chaps. But to stop them drying out again, vermiculite on top, good watering. They've gone on the bottom staging underneath the wasset. Right, these are Gavin's sweet corn I'm doing for him. There's a couple of them, but I'm getting a good root structure on the bottom now, so they need potting on again, as they telling me there. So I'm going to pot them on. Nice white thick roots. That tells me I've got a good plant. So next pot size up, which is only about 1 inch, and but I hold him upright and then pack him round. I've also got 1 spare branch leek for him, and that needs potting on as well, so he'll go in the next pot size up as well. 2 sprouts I've got for him, they need potting up as well. Right, once again, this one I didn't turn, as you have noticed. So the sun comes over here, that's where this pot was facing. That's where the roots are going to go. And if we go onto this one, let's see if this works. So I've just potted a sprout up, showing you half and half of the roots, because I didn't turn the pot. Here's the other sprout, which I'm now potting on. But this one, you know, I like doing the trial and error. I started turning this one and left the other one as it was. And as you can see, it's roots all the way around. Proof of the pudding. Cheers, troops. Well, I'll get out of it. So it does work, just to show you. So every day I go in now, or if I ain't got time, every other day, every pot that's in there is turned. I'm just helping the plants out again. So these lot get a good soaking. The leeks, eating leeks, cold greenhouse, don't forget these are started off. I'll put the dates on and all that rubbish next, everything I started off. Dates of everything I did, carrots, everything. But you see, I've lost at least 1.5 inches here. So I'm going to upend him, which I have done, put more compost in the bottom of the pot, then put him back in. So I've elevated and given him a bit more root drainage to go on the bottom. So all these lot have now got more growth to go to. The carrots I've put in the tunnel, top of the garden, in between my pot leeks, and there's the spud, which I've done for Caroline, the smaller 2 pots, should be lighter for her. And he was left out last night, that spud, because of the rain that we had. Right, this is Mark. He's a new lad. I'll just introduce him more. He's been on site 2 years, I think, but this is his first main year. As well, he'll tell you himself. But I've talked him into giving us a talk through. You ready, Mark?
Yeah, can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah, good man. Just tell us when you want to go to the next photo.
Yeah, no worries. So hi, yeah, this is my plot with partner Laura. We got the plot last January, I think it was, just after the new year. It was a little bit overgrown, and everything on there that you can see, greenhouse, beds and everything, we've done in the last 18 months. Some people have had, been, obviously with lockdown, have been furloughed. Laura was furloughed, which she spent most of it down in the sunshine with a bottle of wine. But I'm a grave digger for the local authority, so I've been working more hours than normal. So we've done what we can do, and we're slowly getting there. So this is looking down the plot to the duck pen and the greenhouse. Greenhouse was given to me by somebody on site, and we glazed it, so it's ideal. The raised beds, we're trying to put raised beds in using scaffold boards. They're 12 foot by 4 foot. The bottom bed has got onions, I think the white onions, the winter onions, and elephant garlic. Middle bed's got red onions and normal garlic. And then the bed right in front of you has got some shallots and some broad beans that we put in last week. So this is the intention now for the whole of the site to go to these raised beds, try and make it a little bit easier and easier to grow and crop and maintain for us. So this is how we want to progress. Okay, Mick, next one, please. This is looking up the plot now. In the first bed, these two raised beds were already on site when we took it on. The closest one is a flower bed. That's Laura's flower bed. It just for a bit of colour, attract some insects. And what we got in there, Laura, we got daffs, tulips, peonies, lilies, anything and everything that I can sort of, we've dug up. I get stuff from work, bits and pieces out of the bins. So it's all in there. And the bed behind is fruit. Those bushes were already on site, but in a different position. So first thing I did, and Mick said not to, was move them. We took a chance and we moved them, and they seem to be doing good this year. Don't quite ask me what fruit they are, because I think somebody last year swiped the lot off me, so I didn't get anything. I don't think it was birds. I think somebody come over and took the bloody lot. Never mind. We'll see what we get this year. Next photo, Mick, please. So yeah, new shed with the canopy. We've got some blue barrels, and I've set up some guttering, so we try and collect as much rainwater as we can. And this is a bench that I borrowed from work out the cemetery. The gaffer does know. It did say in loving memory, but now it's painted blue and it's on the plot. So it's somewhere to sit, because on an evening, you're looking directly down towards the bottom of the plot, the fields, Clent Hills beyond. So that's somewhere where I sit with a nice big bottle of cider on the night, just to chill. Lovely spot. And also the site of me world naked gardening day picture shot from last week. So yeah, all good fun. Next picture, Mick, please. Yeah, and these are, so I've got a strawberry bed to the right hand side. But in the pots, this is what Laura suggested we do for carrots. So I think we've got 3 tubs with carrots. One's cosmic purple carrots, are they, this year? And then we've got another tub with radishes, a farther tub with spring onions and cut and come lettuce, and then we've just added one with some parsnips at the top. So hopefully, because I've put just composting with these with vermiculite and sand, so hopefully we can get nice straight carrots while I'm trying to put more raised beds in further down the plot. So we'll see how we get on this year with these. Next one, Mick, please. Yeah, and this is the strawberry bed. The strawberries were on site in this situation when we took the plot on. So I salvaged as many of the runners of the strawberries that we could, put a new bed together with some scaffold boards, planted it with the strawberries. Again, last year I didn't net it, something I've learned, and all the birds, I think I had about 3 or 4 strawberries. So this year we've put some hoops in, some canes and some netting. So hopefully we'll get some fruit, and we'll see what we do with this. And behind are, I think, the 4 or 5 compost Daleks that I've got. So I'll put everything and anything that is waste apart from weeds goes into the compost bins, including all the muck out the duck pen and whatnot. So we put that in there. So we'll get some sort of compost type organic matter to put on top of the beds to dress them at the end of the year, hopefully. Next one, Mick, please. Yeah, so that's the fruit again. We'll see. I think there's a couple of gooseberries, and I think the others might be a red currant. I'm not 100% sure. So last year, something or someone swiped the bloody lot off us. So we'll see. We'll see what comes. Next one, then. Yeah, this one's looking back down the plot. I've got some canes up ready for climbing French beans. So they're in the greenhouse at the minute. I think they've just popped up, haven't they, last week? So that bed's ready for those. And then this is the best duck pen and run that I can do. So it's the duck pen is made out of Harris fence panels, top and bottom, grabs so we can hose them down and keep them clean. And then I've got an outdoor run with chicken wire and a little pond sunk in. Now these ducks are rescued Cherry Valley ducks. So they're from a commercial egg producer. Initially we only wanted to rescue 3, but they asked us could we have a drake as well, because they got so many 100 of those to rehome. So yeah, we've got 3 ducks and 1 drake. They've started laying the eggs the last couple of months, so now we're getting on average 3 eggs a day from them. But anything, tops or off anything, leaves and whatnot that we don't need, just feed the ducks, and they love it. And I've got a little slide in there now, so I can, every time I go down the plot every day, I just let them out and they come running out while I go in and clean them out, and they love it. And it's great. It gets me down the allotment every day through the winter, because I was worried that, when bad weather sets in, that perhaps you say, oh, I'll leave it for another week, but I won't visit. But this has kept us going through all winter. It's given me a purpose to go down to the allotment and see what's going on. So we get in there. We're slowly getting there. I'm having trouble at the minute with obtaining scaffold boards for some reason. I don't know what to do with COVID, Brexit, and all of this. Even the scaffolders are having to pay nearly £20 a board to replace their stock, and you can't get them. Well, you can, but for something that was £6 or £8 a board the other year, they want £18, £19 a board now, which I find is ridiculous. So we're going to persevere, but I don't want to be ripped off with paying that sort of money. So we'll get there eventually. Next one, Mick. So these raspberry canes, they were there when we moved on site with the wooden frame. So the wooden frame was knackered. The raspberry canes were overgrown. So a couple of folks said, do this, do that. So we just cut them all down to the ground. I cut everything down. I put a new structure up with these poles. These were borrowed from the Parks Department scrap heap at work. And so all that growth that's there was last year's new growth, but we didn't have any fruit. I don't know whether they're summer raspberries or autumn raspberries, so I've just left them, and that was last week's picture. So you've got last year's growth at the top, but then you've also got some new growth starting at the bottom. So if anybody's got any ideas as to what...
It's just coming there, Mark. Jerry, I've messaged Jerry, but he might still be on here. Jerry, you still here?
Jerry's gone. He left a message.
Is he?
Yeah.
Has he legged it? Or, as Mark just said, he was unsure whether summer or autumn. So I've messaged Jerry, and he says just thin him out. This is the new growth at the bottom.
Right.
Where's me error? So each dollop, just thin them out. So you got 4 shoots.
Yes.
Then leave the old canes on as well, and just see what happens then.
Okay.
But once this is the fruit, then he'll be able to tell you what they are.
Well, yeah, we'll persevere. We'll see what comes, and if we don't get anything,
Yeah.
I'll dig the lot out and we'll start again with some more that we know what they are. So
yeah, so just the old growth. Just leave 4 canes in.
Okay, right.
Each bungle.
Yeah. Okay then, but yeah, we'll try that then. No worries.
Boston.
Oh, and this is an Nick popped down the other day and he took a photo of this. This is I had to get me RHS books out to have a look, and I think it's an Acer palmatum red pygmy. So it's all leaf palmated leaf, but this is like the last week. The leaves have just started to form, and it is absolutely beautiful colour, and this very small, fine leaf. It looks great on the patio because there's a hosta in the pot as well, so it's underplanted with a hosta. It's a really nice Acer. It's one of those purchases when you walk around a garden centre and you think, oh, I like that, and then you find somewhere to put it when you bring it back. So yeah, it is, but we like that. We like anything like that, don't we, in the garden? Anything different is what we like. But yeah, so that's it then, Mick. Thank you.
Boston. Anybody got any questions for Mark? He's got the ball. He's got the gardening book.
Mark,
Oh, yeah.
on the raspberries, have you had any fruit on them at all?
I think we had one fruit on it last year.
Can you remember what was it on old wood or was it on like whippy wood?
Well, I cut them all off. The whole thing was cut down in like February last year. So obviously the fruit on that new growth that was, you know, about 4 or 5 foot tall, which is the same growth that I've kept there now. So I'm not
the fruit. If it's an autumn fruiting, it'll be on fresh whippy stem. But if it's a summer fruiting, it'll be on old wood, last year's growth.
Okay. Well, I think that's what we were saying. I'll probably leave that growth on, and if nothing comes on that growth, and then the fruit comes on the growth from below.
Yeah.
We'll see. If not, I'll have to dig them out and buy a new fresh.
Yeah.
There's one. Somebody said that an autumn bliss is a good.
Bliss. That's what I grow. It's fantastic cropper.
You crop it and then you cut it all down, then don't you?
Cut it down to ground level. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
okay.
what I usually do with mine at the end of the year, I'll cut it down to about 9 inches above the soil.
Yeah.
And then the start of the season, about February, I'll whack it. I'll mulch it, and then at the start of the season, when I see new growth, I'll crop it right way down to the soil.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So that might be the option that we'll go down if we don't get any.
It's a good raspberry. That is, yeah.
Yeah. People have told me about that one, so yeah, we might replace with that. We'll just see. But yeah, all the fruit last year started. Well, we had some fruit coming on it, and then it all just disappeared in a couple of days. And I don't want to, you don't want accusations, but I think perhaps somebody might have gone on the plot and perhaps gone through.
That does happen. We've got it on our site. I mean, I lost a pear tree full of pears while I was on holiday. You laugh now, but at the time you don't.
No, I know, yeah. But no, yeah, thank you for that advice anyway.
Lovely. Cheers, Mark.
Cheers,
Done yourself proud, mate.
Thanks, Mark.
You've got the bug, which is what chairman of plot holders want.
Yeah.
A bloody gardener off the waiting list. Good man. Right, this is yesterday down our trading shed. Because they forecast it crap. And the day before, I just said the sheds are going to be closed because I had to open it up in the rain. Well, the storms. And then Saturday morning, it was just normal rain, the forecast. So I then put on Friday night that the sheds were going to be open. So what I did was take some of these cubes down so I could dish them out, as I've done here. And this is Gary come down. He had some compost, so he had his bag of cubes. And because he missed last week's session, i.e. World Garden Naked Day, there he is.
Oh,
He's
please.
ready for it.
What are them there?
It's a secret what feed I've took.
That's his eye patch. At least you had a good Gary, good man. Mark come down, he had some stuff. He also had his cubes as well to trial. In fact, everybody that come down had some.
Jim.
And this is Jim, he come down and he bought 3 of me books. He's a good lad. Good looking bugger, look at him. He's a good lad. And because we've been advertising the spent mushroom compost and the worm cast, how good they are, yesterday ran out of spent mushroom compost. So that bag, which was here, that's full of rock dust. The 3 of us, we managed to pull that, drag that over. So the empty one is here. So when I order another bag of spent mushroom compost, they just drop it off outside and then just bucket it into that one. Well, we're going to try and blag that one because of the contacts, how many bags of compost I've got rid of him. And I think we've got 2, 4, 6 bags of compost left and about 8 grow bags, and that is it. When they've gone, they've gone.
That's it, that's the last load for a couple of months to go.
Right, the trial, this is from Thursday, so this is 2 days. These are seed leaves, don't forget. First leaves off any plant are seedlings. Seed leaves. There's the true first leaf. So them are coming through on that one. They ain't opened up or as big on that one. So that's after 2 days in this stuff. So far, he's winning. Paul, you got your hand up. You want to go for a piddle? Or you got a question? Steve, you've got your hand up as well.
But what is it exactly?
Well, I've asked them and they said it's peat. But the stuff that they've made just to hold this together, I've looked into it on the internet and it does say. So I'm still looking into that. But I will come back to you.
So it's just neat peat that then, Mick?
It's supposedly peat, yeah.
Is it something similar to a Jiffy 7, Mick?
Looking that way, isn't it?
It is similar, yeah. But I ain't used one of them for quite a few years. But I've dished about 7 lots out for people to try.
It's looking well, Mick. I'll have 4 tons. Can you deliver it?
Yeah.
You can put it in the
You could pick them up when you bring that bloody seaweed down.
No, it's on. I'm on with it now. Don't whittle. Stop whittling.
I better look that up when he's gone. Right, our speakers for next week. We got Jerry from London. He's covering fruit, what we should be doing now with our fruit. So have you got any questions about fruit trees or anything?
Yep.
We've also got Colin. Obviously, he's going to cover in Amazon trips and his back garden. And a new speaker for next week. Our 3rd speaker is Paul. There he is. With Jared still in his suit. Yeah, right. But Paul's going to cover quite a few things on his plot as well. So
I'm ready. I'm ready for my PJs.
This is a week Sunday, so that'll obviously them 3 are for next week on the 16th. The week after, Sunday the 23rd of May, we got Neil from Walsall, and he'll be showing us around his plot. And he's quite a, well, you see, he's a good-looking bugger. But he's done well on with his growing stuff as well. So we look forward to them. And that is it, people. Hope you've all enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well done.
And learned something. So thank you to all my speakers, guest speakers who come on tonight. Without them, it'd be boring because you would only have me. So anybody can come on, don't forget. Just take a photo. If you just got one plant and you're proud on it, just take a photo and send it me, email it me or
make this from Hansel.
David.
Bradley, Ronald Taylor.
Yeah.
Yes,
go on,
please.
sir.
Stop ignoring us.
Okay. We've got an attack of gooseberry sawfly on our allotment.
Any ideas what to do?
Our
Never
fruit
had it
man's
before.
gone. Anybody had that attack before or know how to cure it?
No.
We're just dealing with it with soap, aren't we?
Soap and water. They said spray with it, but
soapy water.
Neem oil.
I don't know what it is.
sorry, I didn't catch that.
Neem oil from
Neem
India.
oil.
Yeah, neem oil.
And
N-E-E-M.
neem oil. And what do I do with that? Water it in, or?
It's make an insecticide out of it to spray.
Oh, right.
Send
From
me your
India.
I mean,
send
it's
me your
absolutely
email. I'll send you a link.
okay. Thank you.
Amazon.
It's laden with fruit. I mean, will the fruit be edible or no?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. With the neem oil, make sure you buy what they call the cold pressed neem oil.
Well, my understuff.
Correct.
I don't know.
And try and use it the same day as you mix it, because it does emulsify if you leave it for quite a while.
Oh, right.
Okay, thank you.
Mix it with washing up liquid.
Yep.
Okay.
Cheers.
Thank you. Thank you.
It does work. I tried it a few years ago. The neem trees in India, and when they used to have their locusts, it used to devastate everything, but it never touched the neem tree.
Oh, right.
That's when they looked into it.
Oh.
So our paper shop, when he goes back home on holiday, he used to bring me back a tub, smuggle it back in. That was before you could get it off Amazon.
Oh, right. Okay. Thank
Just
you.
mention, if you look on Amazon, just mention Colin, so you know Colin Stokes.
You'll probably end up with a pound of sausage.
Or a greenhouse.
Yeah. Right.
Thank you.
Mick,
yes.
Big question. Nemo, how much per litre of water?
I've got it on my container.
Just get me email off of me.
1 to 50, I think it is.
1 to 50.
Something like that, but double check it.
Just get me email off of Mick and send me an email, and I'll send you a video on it.
I've brought it about 4 weeks ago, and I've used it yet off Amazon. I think I paid £5 for it.
Oh, neem oil.
Yeah, big, about 100 mil.
It is. It's about a fiver.
Yeah, about that.
Yeah.
It works on anything. Green fly, any fly.
I'm going to try it on anything. Can you spray before it gets a green fly?
Yeah.
Does it protect it?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll do that then for my chilies.
Yeah. So would it be good on?
You've got my email. Send me send me a link. Send me a message, and I'll send you a link to YouTube.
Okay.
What about
aphids?
It's got 1 teaspoon.
Yes, that's what it's for.
One teaspoon
of water.
Yeah, my bottle here says 1 part oil to 9 parts water.
Yeah.
Right. And I buy it, believe it or not, from a place that looks after horses. It's www.horseleads.co.uk. And it's got a eucalyptus citrador or whatever that is in with it, as well as, you're never going to read it off of here.
Yeah.
But that's what I do. And
So
I mix it with a dog flea shampoo.
Yeah,
it's very liquid.
You can do, yeah.
And that kills everything.
Yeah.
When I brought it, I looked at neem all up. And
Paul, did you just say aphids?
Yeah, would you do that?
You don't have to kill aphids, don't you?
No.
Yeah, we better 4B2.
Get rid of the ant supply. Stop the ants going up the tree.
Yeah, that's fine.
Because the ant feeds the aphids, and the aphids feeds the ants.
Oh, get rid of ants then. I've only got ants in my one tunnel across the road, and I'm proud of them. But a quick question: if you go onto nemo.com and if you Google it, what it actually does, it's hundreds of things it does even for your own body. It's cracking stuff.
Yeah, I know it is. I use a lot of it.
Is it? Does it get?
No,
Does
you
it get?
don't want to let it near your lights in your grow room because it goes hard and whatever. You can't hardly scrub the bugger off of it.
All right, I won't do that.
Don't wash your hair.
Can you drink it?
If you're
Don't wash
thirsty,
your hair in it, you'll go bald. But that doesn't apply to Paul.
Nah, definitely not. Cheers, guys.
That's butcher bean, Colin.
Sorry? No,
That's
not
I'm
expecting anything tonight.
all right.
No.
Right.
My house.
Can I put rock dust for my plants, my house plants?
Yes.
Can you what? So, what you say?
It's rock dust on house plants.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, thank
Just sprinkle the dust around it.
Okay.
I'll bung it around everything.
Yeah.
Have you got any books left, Mick?
Any what?
Any of your books?
Yes.
Amazon.
Are you down the allotment tomorrow or?
Oh, I forgot to get this.
Could well be. We'll just come past the house.
All right.
If you see the van on the front.
You're in. Okay, I'll get one off.
Yeah, yeah, fine. He charges £1 for signature on it.
20 quid. 20 quid signed.
20 quid signed.
Cheeky bugger.
Nigel,
Hello. Hello.
I finally found a supply of bath gates local.
I've got one for you in Newcastle Staffs.
Oh well, the general shop at Faze, not Faze, Marlow, suddenly put an advert on Facebook, and he got this bath gate, and he delivered me 10 bags round for now.
How much you pay back, Colin?
£5.
That's excellent price. Is it the Champions blend?
It's professional.
That's not Champions blend.
Eh?
That's not Champions blend. That's professional. Your stuff, Nigel, is different.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was.
Yours the top of the class one.
I'll pay £6 a bag for mine.
I do.
What's the difference then between the two? But I've got it's
That
different.
one you got kills the plants.
Weed killer in it, Carl.
All right, okay. It's lovely stuff, I tell you.
But it also gets rid of the aphids. So you've won both of us.
So you don't need the neem oil.
That's professional. And Bathgate Champions blend. All right. So what have you got for me then for the proper stuff, mate?
It's I'll put the link in the chat for you if you want me to have it.
All right.
Have we had it, Mick?
It's got rock dust built in.
Because Bathgate, I was going to say that they have rock dust added into the compost, don't they?
Yeah.
It's superb stuff.
I did look around their premises about 5 years ago.
Did you?
I had a tour.
Did you bring out bags?
I had about 2 bags, yeah. That was before they started putting the rock dust in. I just started then and been going long.
I go into it off of Nigel's side.
Oh.
He uses it all the time on his site.
I've just put a link on the chat now where I gave from.
Oh, good.
Oh, you're cool, dude.
There you go then, you see. All is not lost.
If you buy 2 bags, it's £6 a bag.
Yeah.
What size bags are them, Nigel?
50 litre. Are they 50s, Nigel?
50, yeah.
They deliver as well.
You do a peat-free one, which is very good as well. It's much finer, the peat-free is. You could use it for seed sowing.
Yep, it's good stuff.
Or do they use Koya?
No, I don't know what it is, but it's black. It is really dark, it is, and really fine.
But it's not heavy?
No. Yeah. There's a fair bit of weight to it.
It is a bit heavy.
It's like Johnny's compost because it's soil based.
Yeah,
it's heavy. I don't like using it. to allow me roots to breathe.
I'm going to tell you something now, mate. I went to a place to see my mate, and he was tractor driver at this compost company, and he mixed in the John Innes with the compost. And he says half the time I didn't even bother, I just chucked it anywhere. So I mean, it's, you know, this John Innes crap, I don't believe it's as good as it should be. I mean, what is John Innes?
It's good for certain plants.
Yeah, but what is it? What is John Innes?
It's soil based, isn't it?
It's a soil based compost, and there's 3 variants depending on how old the plants are.
I mean, you've looked into it, Nigel, haven't you? Because you're on Bathgate there.
Now I'm on gardening centre. With the Bathgate, I'll put that against the clover and sieve it, and I'll guarantee you'll get more crap out of the clover. Clover's up and down all the time. I mean, last year we grew something, leeks, and there's 3 other YouTubers grew the same thing. We all had the same problem. The leeks germinated, but they stopped growing. There was no nutrients in the compost.
I've got exactly the same problem now, Nigel. It folds up like a little loop, and they've not grown. The leeks have been there 3 weeks.
I've got some leeks in it, in a polystyrene box, 15 months old, and only 3 inches high. I'm seeing how long I can keep them for.
I'm just trying to.
42 in the chat. We've never had that many. Gordon Bennett.
42.
What now?
Look at Jared. He's still got his suit on.
He's glowing in the dark.
The Ghostbuster.
Oh, PJs, told you.
Yeah, right.
Cheers, Mark.
How come you've kept that parrot quiet?
You at it again, Paul?
Yeah, Westerns.
Oh, vintage.
Old Rosie.
Yeah, we strangled it.
Look at Mark. Mark's still on his plot. Look in his green, in his tunnel.
Is Mark still sitting there?
Yeah, right. Well, he is right. It's also right.
Both Marks are.
Mick.
Yes.
The Amazon box behind you full of books, is it?
Yes, dear.
I thought it was.
Bloody hell,
I've got to get
Paul.
half a Gary.
Well, you're a detective.
I am. I'll spot things, mate.
Watch him, Mick. He'll be knocking a few of them out on internet.
Yeah, Colin told him about that.
And that's a bottle of rum behind him. Look, behind his lower here.
Never for our raffle prize for next garden.
Hey, Mick, why is there so many on here, and yet you've not sold that many books?
He sold a few.
Not on Amazon.
How many sold, Mick?
There's at least 5 gone.
Yeah, there's
I'm
42
really
on
impressed.
here. 42 on here, and only sold 5 books.
I'm going to buy one.
I've got one upstairs.
Perhaps they are all composters.
Have you bought one, Colin?
Me, no. I've followed Mick for 7 or 8 years, and I know exactly what he's put in the book.
Yeah, right. Okay. I bet you'd pay £5 if it were butcher.
No.
I've got one.
Have you got one, Nige?
No, I haven't.
Well done, Ray.
I'm coming to get mine signed.
You're right. Best looking bloke on here tonight.
Have you got one, Paul?
No.
And you go drinking on a Friday night with him, and you've not backed his book?
Oh, no, what he's like, mate. Oh, I'm in the book.
I know you are. Back page, I've seen you.
I've got to buy one. I want it signed.
Page 3 is on.
Yeah.
Here's 4, 5, and 6. I'm disappointed. I really am, Mick. I thought you'd have a lot more subscribers than this as regards to your book.
I've tried Garden News. They've blocked me. I know why that is. Because there's a big veg man who's stopped me going on there. But I've tried all the other gardening magazines as well. And I just can't get in. So it's just getting in somewhere.
Got you taking advert out?
Getting the advertisement. Hey?
Come on, guys, get your money out.
Can't you take an advert out?
In what?
In any of the garden mags?
Oh, I'll put an advert in, I suppose. If they put it in. But if they going to give me a write-up.
Nick, send a link with it, and I'll put it on my messenger, because obviously I went to horticultural college, and I'll pass it on to a few of the guys from Perthshire that are all in the industry, so that might plug it a little bit for you.
Yeah, any bloody thing. Oh,
some tight asses on here, Mick.
Oh, Mick, top shelf, barn shop.
Was you at Perthshire College?
Yeah, I did 2 years at Perthshire, yeah.
Oh,
Were you there, Nudge?
You are.
Were you there?
No, it's like the top place. It's lovely. Good.
Is it?
Good, yeah.
You writing a book, Mark?
No.
I'll buy it.
Mark, they had a lecturer there, a Scottish chap. Was he there when you was there?
Oh, mate, you're going
back.
back.
Around doing talks.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I did 2 years, so I did a national diploma in horticulture at Perthshire. But a lot of the guys that I was with there stopped on and went and did their degrees and whatnot afterwards. So I'm trying to get back to like talking to them. When you're kids, ain't you?
Yeah.
You're trying to catch up, but a lot of them are in the industry now. Head gardeners, and a couple of them do stuff for gardeners. Well, they're on the bloody telly all the time. A couple of them, so yeah.
There's one of the lecturers there from Burton College. We had him at our gardening club.
Yeah.
Give us a talk, and and he covered composting in there, and he was saying the compost now what the council dish out is good stuff. And we all says no, it isn't. It's crap. And he threw a fit. He walked out. He says, I ain't staying here. I ain't taking this off you lot.
I can tell you this. Dudley Council collect all the green waste. They take it to the Lister Road depot. It gets put into a big barn, and then a big lorry will come in, and they load the lorries and say, where's the waste going? And they go, oh, it's going to landfill. Because you can't say that waste, green waste coming in, isn't contaminated with chemical, like pesticide or anything, it all goes to landfill. Dudley won't compost the waste.
So,
did you come across a guy? Did you come across a guy named Frank Hardy at Perthshire?
Oh no, you ask faces I'm good with, names I'm terrible with, mate. I must admit.
What happened to you and WRS or whatever it is? WVS?
Yes. No, we just fell out.
Did you? You're not going to tell us details.
I'd try to get kids involved with gardening, and they didn't, because it might upset the RHS.
Really?
That's it, basically.
That's good news.
Not for the kids.
Exactly. Wife being a teacher and that of little kids, they do it at their school up here.
Yeah.
They have a gardening club.
I'm not sure whether our gardening club still carries on at the local school.
Is it on national curriculum, Jed?
No, it's not.
No. It's
supposed to be on the national curriculum, gardening along with cooking.
Yeah, it should be.
Should be.
Definitely.
Cooking stopped at most places, health and safety. Gardening started up if they got volunteers for it or the money to pay somebody. But there ain't many schools that do it. Which is sad, because they're our future gardeners. In a couple of years' time, we're going to come unstuck, because the gardening clubs that are going, I know of 3 that have folded this year. Only pandemic, I don't know if had any involvement or whatever. But because they're old uns, they can't get enough to take over on the committee when they lose somebody. And basically, we're running out of gardeners. Well, we ain't got no gardeners, because I ain't been on the school's national curriculum. That when I took the kids up Caslon, the parents hadn't got a clue about gardening, because they never had gardening themselves at school. The last ones had it was the great grandparents, and they've got no interest in gardening whatsoever, and gardening clubs are going to come unstuck.
So if there's a war, who's going to feed them? Because they won't be able to grow it.
When I was at college, there were 40 of us enrolled on the course for a 2-year course, and that was me being a school leaver, and we got people on the course that were in the 50s, and one chap was even just turned 60, and that was 1 year's worth of enrolment. So you got everybody of all ages from all over the country. We got somebody from the Isle of Man, somebody from Northern Ireland, you know, all on the course, and that's just when 1 year at Pershore. So there's no youngsters learning it, you know, because parents don't have gardens. They're not interested, are they?
No.
A lot of kids, they don't show the kids anything.
They all want maintenance free these days, don't they?
Yeah,
they do.
Artificial grass.
Now we got the hound, now Rosie. Obviously, we're taking her out daily for walks, and now instead of me driving past the place, I'm walking past. Well, being a gardener, if I'm field wise of them or whatever, I'm being a nosy bugger, and I'm looking at the gardens, you know, thinking, right, that's a good sized garden, and it's full of nothing. It's full of weeds. The next one might, you know, look decent to someone, but there's more non-kept gardens than kept gardens. They just well, they ain't gardens. That's it.
No, not bothered, am I?
Yeah. Any road up.
Done. Cheers, mate.
He's 10 to 12. There's still 43 on here.
You're around then, Mick, is it?
Yeah, I'll get him in. We'll have a
cheers, Mick.
A Nemo tops.
Cheers.
From Amazon. I'll see you next week then, people.
See you guys.
Yeah, Mick.
I've enjoyed it. See you, troops.
Dear all.
Ta-ra, mate.
Ta-ra all.